Them Rocky Mountain oysters tasted a little nutty. Hey gang, Jeff Stone here with day 56 of the year 2016 at MagicReviewed.com. The Marvelous Nut Dropper, and I forgot to check the price on this. Hold on. 50 bucks. For 50 bucks, you get information overload. Go watch the ad trailer. I don't know if it'll quite get you there, but what you're essentially getting, you're not just buying a gimmick. That's one thing, but you're getting 3 full, complete acts. I mean, they're acts. They're not just a routine. They're a complete act. You get all of them in the same way, in a different way, but they end with some borrowed object inside of a walnut, then the walnut's inside of a fruit, a lime or an orange or something like that. All of the acts end that way. So there's like a stage/parlor version of this. Then there is a sort of more close-up-ish, but not, it's like a close-up, sort of a bar setting. And then there's like a strolling version of it. And each one is a completely different thing. The stage act is this whole theme of I'm the most powerful wizard in the world, and it's a whole routine, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then the more close-up one is this sort of gambling-based little theme and routine and stuff. And then the strolling one is sort of it's a much shorter effect, and that's probably the only one that I wouldn't say is like a routine. It's just an effect, and it's not an act. It's just a routine, I should say. So the parlor thing, it's an act. The gambling thing, it's an act. The one that's a strolling one is more of a routine or an effect, and that one is about the how a lot of the technology is named after fruits, and he talks about apple and blackberry, and then apparently I guess this is maybe just a UK thing, but there's a thing called orange. It's like a type of phone there. So anyway, it's all centered around that, and a borrowed SIM card ends up inside of the nut, which is inside of the fruit. In the gambling one, it's a borrowed dollar bill that ends in there. And in the wizard on the stage one, it's a borrowed ring that ends up in there. So that's the gist of it. That's like the short version of what you're getting. Now, the intent here is not to watch this and then go, hey, I'm now going to do Matthew Wright's wizard act, or Matthew Wright's bar betting act, or Matthew Wright's strolling piece. That's not the idea here. For one, if you're going to do that, the wizard one is like it's got a cups and balls thing, and it's got all these little chests of these props, and got a ring and string routine, and a sort of a combination of like rope magic and then a ring on rope routine, borrowed ring. It's got a paper hat tear and some other stuff all into this one thing. So yeah, you can ethically and morally, whatever, just do that act. Because if you buy this thing for 50 bucks, it's 2 discs, by the way. But that's not the point of this, because A, why would you want to just copy somebody else's act? B, if you do that, you're going to have to go out and buy all the props in the show. That isn't the point. What is the point? There's a few of them we'll get to in a second. Same thing with his bar show. Again, you could duplicate the exact complete show with all the bar bets and so forth if you wanted to, but why do that? And again, you'd have to buy a whole bunch of stuff. And then the same thing with the close-up thing. Now, the close-up thing, he does use as props an iPhone and a BlackBerry. You wouldn't have to necessarily have those physically there, but he does do that. Anyway, they all have this one final ending of the routine, and what you're getting is a really simple gimmick that will allow you to, with one hand, get quickly and instantly a borrowed object into a walnut and then that walnut into a fruit, like in a second or two. So it's not the kind of thing where you take their object and go, look, it's gone, and reach in your pocket and load it in there. It's not that kind of thing. And that's the thing that's beautiful about this, is he teaches you all the timing of it and the subtleties of it and the nuances of it and how to prepare. I mean, now, to be clear, before you leave the house, you have to prepare the walnut and the fruit and have them prepared a certain way, obviously. You can do it at the restaurant or the gig or whatever if you wanted to do that as well, but this is some prep work that has to be done. That's not quick. I mean, it's going to take you some time. But, I'd say maybe 5 minutes per walnut and fruit, 5-ish minutes. And so he shows you a way to, you make up a whole bunch of walnuts, a whole bunch of fruits, how to, carry them around. And then just between tables, if you're going to do it strolling, between tables, you run back to the kitchen and grab the walnut and the fruit and set your gimmick up, once you've prepared all the walnuts and all the fruits to set the gimmick, which is in this box, to set the gimmick up with the walnut and the fruit takes like 3 seconds. And then you just have it and you're ready to go, and you can do it again and again and again. You do it with one walnut and one fruit, and you run back to the kitchen. You take 3 seconds to set up another walnut and a fruit because you've already spent the way ahead of time prepping the walnut and the fruit. Hopefully that all made some sense. So that's one thing you're getting, is this gimmick and all the details. I mean, every detail you can imagine about how to use this gimmick. Secondly, you're getting to see a guy who makes a living as a magician perform professionally. There are some good things to learn from that and some bad things to learn from that. So in the bad things, I'm not going to let that affect star rating, because they're just things that are, my opinion, are bad. And my opinion is irrelevant when it comes to that kind of thing. But there are some things I will warn you about. One of the things he does in his stage show is he has a girl up on stage, and she's there for the whole routine. It's like a 20-minute act, and she's sitting on a bar stool there the whole entire act. And he constantly is having things go wrong, and he calls her a stupid girl multiple times. Now, I would never do that. I don't even use that word at people. There are things that I say are stupid, but I don't call people stupid. I don't like to do that. That's me personally. Now, the other thing is, I've seen magicians where they do things that are insulting to the audience, and the audience has this sort of awkward laugh where they're like just playing along, like, that was rude, but okay, it's for fun. I'll just have fun with it. But on this one, she genuinely seemed to think it was hilarious, and the audience did. So maybe in that culture, he's from the UK, I think, in that culture, it's saying stupid girl maybe is just funnier, or it's not as insulting or something. I don't know. And I'm being serious. I'm not being facetious here. I really don't know if maybe that's just more of a funny thing over there to say. I don't know. But just be careful doing stuff like that, is my warning to y'all. So, that aside, you get to see the thought behind how he structured his act. You will learn every freaking single detail you can ever possibly imagine about every single piece of his show. He covers it in extreme depth, but yet it's not too much. And the best part is, he breaks it out into, like, he has a whole section, he calls it the library. It's just one of the chapters that's a library that's got a bunch of subchapters. And it's like all the moves, like it's got the wand spin, the Vernon wand spin, and this move and that move. And so as he's doing the explanation, if you're already familiar with those, you're not having to sit through him explain something you already know. He just says refer to the library section for the details on this, and then you can go watch the pieces you want. This whole project was extremely well thought out, very well structured, comes with the gimmick. For the stage show, he actually does an entire kind of commentary where him and Harry Robson, he and Harry Robson sit there and they watch it on the screen, and then they comment on it and they commentate on it, and he goes through all the details of it. And by the way, Matthew Wright used the phrase suspension of disbelief, which I think we've all heard that phrase. And Harry Robson, who's an older guy, easily in his 50s, maybe a little older, and he apparently he's never heard that phrase before. I was just shocked because he's a working professional, and that's sort of a kind of a common phrase in theater and in art and magic in particular. So I thought that was funny. Nothing to do with the review, but I thought it was funny. So you get all that stuff, all the details. You get an in-depth explanation of how to make this particular gimmick deck that he likes to use. Everything. The only thing that he doesn't fully teach, there is a routine on there, and they talk about this in the ad copy, where you give the spectator a piece of candy, and they're to hide it in one of their hands, and then they bring their hands out, and you're like, oh, it's in the right hand, and let's mix it up, and they bring their hands out, and you're like, oh, it's in the right hand again, or whatever, and bring them out, and oh, it's in the left hand this time. And you get it right 3 times in a row. And then you show that you knew that anyway, and you show a prediction that says, right, left, or whatever. So he teaches you how to do the prediction part, but he doesn't teach you how to guess which hand it's in. And he just says, I use XYZ marketed product for that. If you want to do this trick, then go buy that product. That's the only part I felt like, oh, come on, man. Show us a method here. Because it was very clean. So if I ever want to do that trick, I'm going to have to buy that particular product. That aside, I don't even know that I'm letting that hit the star rating, because this is a solid product. And he's a quirky dude, and I don't know if everybody's going to like watching him, and you might find him funny or not, or annoying or not, or whatever or not. I don't know. To me, that's irrelevant. If you want to learn, first, if you want this gimmick, and you want to be like a super simple, easy way to load a borrowed object into a nut, into a fruit, and every single possible detail you could ever want to know about that, this is worth it alone. On top of that, to see a working professional and sort of tip his hand and see all of his experience in this, a lot of his experience in this DVD, then it's also worth it. So the only other thing, a word of caution I'll give you, the borrowed SIM card to Walnut, don't do that trick. You can if you want to, but when you crack open that walnut, if that SIM card is standing up the wrong way, you could crack the SIM card. That's something I don't want. I will never do it that way. So just thought I'd give you a heads up on that, but that's your call. Anyway, that's it. Final verdict, 5 stars, guys. Stone status, a gem. If anything that I said, even somewhat small, remotely appeals to you, I think you'll be very happy with this product. There's a lot of great stuff on here. Great techniques, great, nothing new as far as technique, but great nuances and subtlety and stuff like that you're going to learn. You're not going to get this for the intent of doing his act. You're going to get it to learn from a working pro. So, that being the case, 5 stars, Stone status, a gem. Time now to subscribe, like the video, share it out to all your friends, and listen to the random iTunes song of the moment, which is Fool for Love. What is this, 80s week? Fool for Love by Belinda Carlisle. Sorry, I'm a fan. I like her. Anyway, tune in tomorrow, day 57, where we look at Against All Odds by Mark Elsden and Alakazam Magic. Until then, folks, thanks for watching. Peace out.